Hello, QVS AP World History students. I hope you're having a good day. I hope you had some time to rest and that you're ready to get back to work because we are moving into Essential Unit 5. And in moving into this unit of study, that means we are moving into a new time period within the context of AP World History. Remember, there are four major time periods that we are looking at this year. The period from 1200 to 1450 we covered in units 1 and 2. The period from 1450 to 1750 we covered in unit 3 and 4. We did that just before the break. And now in unit 5 and 6, we are moving into the time period from 1750 to 1900. And then, of course, we will spend 3 different units in the 20th century looking at the world wars, the process of decolonization, and then finally globalization as we move to the end of the 20th century. But those last 3 topics, they are in the future. What we are going to focus on now for the month of January and February is the time period from 1750 to 1900. In the Essential Unit 5 that will be studied during the month of January, it is called the Age of Revolution. So we will be looking at both political and economic revolutions that existed within the context of that time period. It is very important that you stick to pacing. You have done a very good job of that all year so far. I have to emphasize its importance once again, only because we are moving closer and closer to that AP exam that you will be taking in May, and I want to make sure that you are properly prepared for that test. If you look at the counter on the course page, we have 119 more days until the test. It is on, I can't see it. It's there. I can't see it. It's on May 10th. So everything we're doing from now until then is in preparation for that exam. And hopefully you took the time over break to do the mock exam and do some of those um, essay writing practice activities that I put up there for the how to write the LEQ and different types of LEQs, because the more familiar you are with the structure of the test and the different types of questions that you will have on the test, I think the more comfortable you will be in taking that exam in May. Every indication from the College Board for this year is that the exam will be like all other exams in the past, not the 2020 exam where students just wrote a DBQ, but it will be a full-on exam, whether you're taking it online or face-to-face in a classroom. It will include the multiple choice questions, the short answer questions, a DBQ, and an LEQ. So if you have not yet done one of the mock exams, the one on the course page, mock exam 1, or the one on the AP College Board page, mock exam 2, it's really in your interest to do them so that you can get a lot of exposure to the different types of questions and get more practice on the content essentially too. Okay, so just kind of that word of warning, we're going to be moving really fast. We have 2 major time periods to cover and 5 more essential units to go before we get to that exam in May. So you're going to be busy. We're going to be busy. Proper pacing is important. Make sure you're spending about 2 hours per day on the course so that you can ensure that you are sticking to the time that I outlined for each of the units. So let's go to the course page and let's take a look at the unit more closely, especially what you need to do for week 1 of this essential unit 5, okay? All right, here we go on the course page. So you want to make sure that you open this unit called Revolutions, again, from 1750 to 1900. Like all units, I begin this unit with a map just to get you familiar with some of the important features of the time period. And I chose this map that deals with the centers of the Enlightenment because the Enlightenment is where we are going to begin our investigation of this unit. The Enlightenment was a political movement, a philosophical movement, if you will, that really dealt with questions on how people are governed. And in the first couple activities of this unit, we will look at some of the more important enlightened thinkers, figures like John Locke, Montesquieu, Voltaire, Rousseau, just to name a few. If some of those names are already familiar to you, you're going to be starting off with a good foundation. This map here shows you that the Enlightenment began in Europe. It is around the period of 1740. And if you take a look at if you take a look at the key for enlightened centers, you could see that a lot of activity was in Great Britain, along with France, and even other parts of Western and Central Europe. And even if you take a look at this map on the sidebar here, in the United States, cities like Boston and Philadelphia were important areas of enlightened thought. Some would argue that the American Revolution was one of the important legacies of the Enlightened, because if you look at the Constitution that was created as a result of that revolution that ended in 1783, then you'll come to understand how greatly influenced it was, especially by figures like Montesquieu. So this is the kind of like centerpiece of the unit, how the Enlightenment impacted revolutions of this age. If you go ahead and read the unit statement, you'll get a greater sense of where we're going in the unit. So in the first week, we will be looking at many different revolutions, beginning with the American Revolution, the French Revolution, the Haitian Revolution, Latin American revolutions. We'll take a look at nationalism in Europe and how different states in Europe were formed as a result of nationalist movements, namely Germany and Italy. You can see on this map of the Enlightenment in the 1700s that Germany and Italy were not unified, but by 1848 there were movements in both of those regions for the unification of those two states. So again, an important map there. If you take a look at the pacing here, the College Board suggests that we spend between 20 and 23 class periods, and the weight of the exam for this period of study, or this topic of study, is about 12 to 15% of the questions will come from this time period, from this topic. We'll spend 4 weeks on this topic, so we're a little shy of that 23 days, but I just want to make sure that we have enough time to cover the other topics fully before the exam in May as well. Here are your readings and lectures. So there's a link to the AMSCO textbook. There's even a link to a great AP World page called Freemanpedia. We use Heimler's history review videos a lot. So like if you click on this link here, these are great videos. I hope you are watching them. Each of them are about 5 minutes long, and he spends time really kind of like sticking to the AMSCO book and talking about these different features within the context of the time period that's outlined for this. So check out those Heimler history review lectures if you haven't done so already. You might watch each one beginning with each of the different topics as you move through the course of study. Now, let's talk about week one. Week one is fairly weighty. You're going to be very busy this week. As I mentioned before, we're going to start with looking at the Enlightenment. And I'll go ahead and open this activity up here. If you're not familiar with the importance of this political, ideological, philosophical, oh, I can't talk, philosophical movement, I would encourage you to watch this crash course video right here. And then there is a worksheet that I want you to complete. You might open the worksheet before you watch the crash course episode, because some of the information in the episode might help you on the worksheet. And essentially on the worksheet, you're going to be looking at different enlightened thinkers. So if you're not very familiar with John Locke and the natural rights, or you're not familiar with Rousseau and Hobbes and the social contract theory, or Montesquieu and the idea of separation of powers, You're going to really benefit from watching this video and reading the profiles of these enlightened thinkers and AMSCO section 5.1. And essentially, what I want you to do is participate in the forum. Of all of the enlightened thinkers, I want you to make a claim as to which one had the most profound effect on the period of 1750 to 1900. So you have to pick one of the enlightened thinkers and write a nice paragraph, at least a nice paragraph, explaining why the one thinker and not the others. And you want to make sure that you use some good political information in your, or historical information in your claim. If you don't know a lot about the different thinkers, there's separate little videos here on each of them. So go ahead and watch 1, 2, 3, all of them. These are a little bit longer. They're about 10 minutes in length. So just kind of be mindful about time as it's related to that. Okay, so that's the first activity, and then we're going to take a look at, or a closer look at, women in the Enlightenment. One of the enlightened thinkers introduced in this activity was Mary Wollstonecraft in the Vindication of the Rights of Woman. We're going to take a look at different women as they participated in the feminist movements to gain political rights for women within the time period from 1750 to 1900. So go ahead and do that activity this week. There's a little video for you to watch related to women in the French salons. And salons were not beauty parlors. They were places that people went and talked about politics. So don't get confused there. And then along with the Enlightenment, we are going to cover this topic here, nationalism and revolutions in the period from 1750 to 1900. And this is AMSCO 5.2. Go ahead and open this activity right here. It will give you an overview of the age of revolutions. So go ahead and watch it. I think it's like 10 or 15 minutes, 20 minutes long. So if you need like an overview of them. But then the worksheet that's attached here, you're going to use it. It's a graphic organizer, and you need to pull information from each of these crash course episodes on the different revolutions to record important details related to each of them, like important political figures, how revolutionary was the revolution, how many years did the revolution last, what were some important events, what was the outcome or the legacy. All of these things that you will record on that graphic there for the different revolutions. And all the while you're doing that, think about which of these revolutions was the most revolutionary. Was the American Revolution the most revolutionary? The French Revolution, so on and so forth. So think about that. And then we'll be taking a look at nationalism in Europe and how the nationalistic movements there led to the unification of Italy and Germany. And then at the end of the week, we'll take a look at the American Revolution more closely. I have some documents collected here for you to gain a strong understanding of the important legacy of the American Revolution. There's even a few more crash course videos here for you to watch. But I include this activity because documents within the context of AP World History are important. I'm not sure if you did the mock exam yet, but one of the big questions on the mock exam is a DBQ. And in the DBQ, you really have to learn how to use documents effectively in order to respond to an essay prompt. So the faster you can analyze documents, the better. I will be putting some kind of like activities on the test prep page related to how to write the DBQ for those of you who are new to it, because that will really benefit you in practicing for the AP exam as well. Okay, so that's the beginning of Essential Unit 5 Week 1 in a nutshell. Please don't be afraid to reach out to me if you have any specific questions. I'm happy to talk with you individually and help on anything that you need help on. You just need to say the word and I'll be there, okay? Have a good week, and I look forward to hearing from you if you have any questions. Bye.